few minutes, I've got to do this speech right now. This is one of the big don'ts in telephone etiquette, and especially with cell phones nowadays. Today I'm just going to give a brief presentation over a couple of things we should keep in mind with cell phones nowadays, since everyone seems to own one. We should always remember just a few common courtesy rules and things. I'm going to talk about some things you should keep in mind when you're in a public place or at a public performance program, and things that you should do and avoid while driving a car. For common courtesy, if you must answer a cell phone call, which is always best not to, you should excuse yourself, especially at a restaurant or wherever you are when you're surrounded by other people. You should also keep a conversation brief. If you're going to answer a phone, try to avoid having a long conversation, because there's people that are perhaps waiting for you and need your time at that moment. A person in person is more important than someone over the phone. Also, you must always keep in mind your voice level. When you're going down the grocery aisle and trying to find something, nobody wants to know what you're going to make for dinner. So keep your voice at a good level. You don't have to be yelling across the phone. I mean, the person can hear you. Phones are made with good quality nowadays. And another thing is keeping your ringtone simple. This is something that Wirefly.com provided us with. It says nobody wants to hear your ringtone. I mean, sure, the latest hip song is nice, but we don't need to hear that every time your phone rings, and it probably gets annoying, and more than likely it attracts more attention to you than you need. So try to keep a normal ringtone, just a simple ring, not the hip song of today. Also, when you're in a public place, you should always follow rules. Certain restaurants have rules where you can't answer a phone in there. There's fancy places that won't allow that. Airports also have rules. I mean, when you're in there and once you're in the plane, you should always obey them. That's why there are rules there. Museums. Some museums, I mean, it's nice to go and look at the artwork or whatever you're going to view, but you should also keep in mind that nowadays almost all phones have cameras, and some places don't allow for you to take pictures of the art. So follow the rules once again. We wouldn't want you to get booked for taking a picture of the Mona Lisa or something like that. And when you have to, please put your phone on silent or vibrate. This is very important, because if you're at a meeting, a theater, a restaurant, like I said before, and especially at church, God is not going to call you through your phone while you're in church, so it's best to turn it off, or if you must keep it on, put it on vibrate or on the silent feature. You wouldn't want to upset those around you at a theater or especially at a meeting. How embarrassing is that when your phone goes off during your boss's presentation? That must be a nightmare. So turn it off or put it on vibrate or silent. Also, nowadays, since cell phones are wireless and you can carry them with you in the car, you should keep in mind that while you're in the car, you should really focus on driving. That's what you're doing. A cell phone is a great distraction, so it's best to ignore phone calls once you're getting them when you're driving. You know, just let them go to voicemail, which brings us to another thing that Sprint says. You should keep your voicemail answering system nice and simple. Don't go with that hey, hello thing and makes people think you're actually answering the phone when it's just your voicemail. That is the most annoying thing ever. So keep that in mind. Keep your voicemail simple. Hey, this is such and such, and leave a message, or you can even use the pre-automated thing that comes with your phone where it just dictates your number, or you dictate your name in there. That's what I find simplest. Some people go crazy on their answering machine things nowadays. And the most important thing is don't text and drive. Texting and driving causes so much accidents. A CNN article that I read says that 37% of people aged 18 to 27 get a text and drive, which causes several accidents, and we wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. So remember to keep these things in mind. Remember those common courtesy rules. Remember what to do and what to avoid at public places. And remember that you shouldn't drive and text in the car, or text and drive in the car, and avoid answering phone calls while you're driving.